Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the KitchenAid mixer speed control plate. It's going to be a very easy repair and it's only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new speed control plate. The speed control plate is part of the speed control system. The main reason you'd be changing it out is if the contacts aren't closing and the mixer is running loud, or the contacts have failed and it's not coming on. Before you work on the mixer, you want to make sure all the attachments are off. In order to remove the beater, all you have to do is lift up on it and then turn it clockwise as you're looking down on it. Then you can let it go and lift it out. Then we can remove the bowl, which all you have to do is lift up on it and pull it out. Once you have them both out, you can set them aside. In order to get to the part, we have to take the back cover off. We're going to use a Phillips screwdriver to take the screw out. Once you have the screw out, you can rotate the cover down and lift it off its little mounting legs. Once you have it off, you can set it aside. To make it easier to get the seal out, we're going to take these two screws out that hold this trim on because it kind of overlaps and covers up the edge of the seal. So we're just going to use a Phillips screwdriver to take out the screws. Once you have the screws out, you can carefully flex the trim away and lift it off and set it aside. Now that we have the trim band off, we have to remove the seal. We have to remove 3 wires on this side and 2 on this side so we can get it off. We're going to use a small flathead screwdriver to take these wires off. Just want to carefully pop them off. The terminals on the speed control plate are labeled with the wire colors so you don't mix them up. And the next one down is the black wire. And then we can use our Phillips screwdriver to take out the screw that holds in the grounding wire. Once you have the screw out, we can go to the other side and take those off. On this side, we're going to take the lower red one off, and then the white one on the bottom. Once you have the wires off, we can get them out of the way. Once you have the wires out of the way, we can pull the seal off the end of the mixer and set it aside. Now that we have the seal removed, we can reach up and take the spring off the speed control plate. You just want to carefully unhook it with a needle nose pliers, and then you don't want to let it go and snap back into the housing assembly. So we're going to hook a towel onto it and just hook the spring into the fibers and let that hold the spring so we can grab it later. Now that we have the spring off from the bottom, we can take the wires off from the phase control board. There's 2 on each side. We're going to use a small flathead screwdriver to help take them off. The black one on the bottom and the blue one on the top. Once you have those off, we can go to the other side. On this side, we're going to remove the white one that's on the back of the plate and on the bottom, and then the red one that's on the side and the top. The upper 2 screws are where you adjust the speed, and the book says that you're supposed to measure that they're 3/8 of an inch. So we measured from the end of this post to the back of the speed control plate, and that was 3/8 of an inch. Now, in case yours was adjusted at any point in the past, you want to make sure you measure yours, because when you put it back in, you want to set it to the same length. Once you know what your measurements are, we can use the Phillips screwdriver to remove the screws. Once you get to a certain point, the nut's going to stay attached to the bolt, but it's going to be out of the post. So then we can take the other one out. Once you have both screws out, we can pull the speed control plate off the mixer. Here's the old speed control plate next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. Looks like they didn't give us the little spring locking mechanism that locks this screw in place. So we're going to take it off and put it onto the new one. But before you do that, this is the speed control for the higher setting. So you want to measure this screw, how far it comes out from the plastic plate, just like we did the other ones. So we already measured ours, it's 9/30 seconds. So we're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to take the screw out so we can get the locking plate off. Once you have it off, we can take the screw out of the new one. And we can put the locking plate on and put the screw back in. Once you have the screw run into where you think you need it, we're just going to grab our ruler and measure it and make sure it's the same as it was when we took it off the old one, which was on ours 9/30 seconds. Once you have it adjusted to the right length, we can put the new speed control plate onto the mixer. To put the new speed control plate in, you have to make sure that this white adjuster lever goes into the opening. Once you have it in place and it comes out the other side, you can lift the plate up and make sure that the screws go into the mounting posts. And we can use our Phillips screwdriver to tighten them down. Remember, you want to tighten them down so you get your adjustment back. Ours was 3/8 of an inch. Once you have it close, you can grab your ruler and make sure you get them right. Once you have them tightened down, we can take the Phillips screwdriver and 11/30 seconds wrench. We're going to hold the screw and just snug the locking nuts down a little bit. Once you have them snug down, we can grab the ruler and just double check them to make sure we didn't move it at all. Now that we have the screws adjusted, we can attach the wires from the phase control board. Anytime you're attaching these wires, whether they're new or old, you want to make sure that when you push them on, if you notice that the terminals slide on too easily, you may have to grab a needle nose pliers and crimp these down a little bit. So when they're pushed on, you get a really good connection. You don't want them coming off when you're adjusting the speed plate at any time. We're going to start with the white with the red stripe, which was connected to the back of the speed plate. And if you have to, you can use a small flathead screwdriver to help carefully push these on. Once you have that one on, we can do the one that was on the side over here, which was the red one. Once you have those two on, we can go on the other side. On this side, we had the black one down here on the second terminal down. And then the blue one was on the upper one. Now that we have the wires from the phase control board attached, we can put the spring on at the bottom. To attach the spring to the new speed control plate, we're just going to carefully pull it out and grab it with the needle nose. Once you have a hold of it, we can take the towel off and make sure that the spring goes into that groove right there. Once you have it in place, you can let go so it puts tension on the speed plate. Once you have the spring attached, we can put the seal back on. To put the seal back on, we're just going to carefully line it back up and make sure the wires are out of the way. And we're going to get the bottom in first, and then we're going to lift it up and put the top in. Once you have the seal in place, we can attach the lower wires to the speed control plate. On this side, we're going to attach the red one on the upper connector and the white one on the lower one. Once you have those two on, we can go on the other side. On this side, we're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to attach the ground wire first. Once you have the ground wire tightened down, we can reattach the wires on the side. The black was on the bottom, and the white was above it. To put the trim band on, all you have to do is carefully line it up on the mixer and then hook each end around the back side so we can use the Phillips screwdriver to put the screws in. Now that we have the mixer put back together, we have to adjust the speeds. Even though we tried to measure everything and get it set just like it was before we took it apart, you may have to make some small adjustments. So we've temporarily plugged it back in, and then we have to adjust these two upper screws to adjust the low speed, and then we're going to use this lower screw to adjust speed 6. The low speed is supposed to spin at 60 RPMs, which is basically 1 per second. So we're going to very carefully turn it on and put our finger against the shaft of the mixer and count for 15 seconds and see how many times it goes around. Just carefully put it against, and every time it bumps, just count for 15 seconds. Once you're done counting, you can turn it off, and then you can adjust these two screws. You have to turn each one the same amount. If you need to make it go faster, you turn the screws out to increase the speed. Also, if you turn the mixer on and you don't get any speed, it doesn't even come on, these are going to be too far in and you need to adjust them out. If you have to adjust the speed, all you have to do is carefully turn each screw, do maybe 1 revolution, and then do the other side. And then you can turn the mixer back on and count the revolutions again. Once you have the slow speed set, we can tighten down the locking nuts. We're just going to hold the screw with our screwdriver, and then we're going to take the 11/32 wrench and just tighten these down so they don't move. Once you tighten them down, you can recheck the speed to make sure that it's still good. Once you're sure it's good, you can turn it off, and then we can check the high speed. To set the mixer up for the higher speeds, we're actually going to test it on speed 6, and that has to spin 180 revolutions per minute. So we're going to have to count 45 times in 15 seconds. So you're going to have a timer or look at a clock with a second hand and make sure you count 45 revolutions in 15 seconds. Once you're ready to go, we can turn it to speed 6. Once you've counted the revolutions and you know what speed it is, if you have to, you can adjust this lower screw to adjust speed 6. It's in to go faster and out to go slower. You may have to do this a couple times in order to get the speed right, but you should count 45 times in 15 seconds that it hits your finger. Once you have all the speed setting correctly, you should hear a distinct noise between all the speeds as you go up in speed. Once you have all the speeds adjusted properly, we can unplug the mixer and put the cover on. To put the cover on, you want to make sure that this little seal goes into the groove right here as you lift it up, and you want to make sure there's no wires being pinched. And then you can make sure the feet are in the frame and lift it up and hold it in place while we use the Phillips screwdriver to put the screw in. Now that we have the cover back on, we can put the bowl and the beater on. To put the bowl back on, all you have to do is line up the pinholes and set it down. Once you have it in place, you can lock it in. Once you have the bowl in, we can put the beater on. To put the beater back on, all you have to do is line up the shaft with the opening and make sure that the locking pin goes in the slot. You can lift it into place and lock it on. Once you have the mixer put back together, you can plug it back in and take it for a spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.